The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Jalasi, Hosts Julie, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Julie Pellissier Lush. I am the current Poet Laureate of Prince Edward Island, and I would love to welcome you to our Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Eastlink Community TV is devoted to celebrating the rich history of the First Nations people on Epekwitk. In the coming weeks and months on this program, we will be celebrating our culture and speaking to people making a difference in our communities. Now, I will let my co-host introduce himself.
Hey, Jalasi. Hello and welcome. We're very thankful to be here again on Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink TV. And we're very, very thankful to have and honored to have our beautiful and amazing guest here. It's my auntie, my super amazing auntie, Chief Darlene Bernard here. And I'll let my mom introduce.
Now today we would like to welcome Chief Darlene Bernard, who is the Chief of Lennox Island First Nation, one of the two First Nations communities here on PEI. And we're going to talk to her to gain some knowledge and wisdom and just hear a little bit more about the role that she plays, and maybe if somebody would be interested in following up and wanting to learn more, this would be an opportunity for them to start this learning journey. So first, I'd like to welcome Chief Darlene Bernard.
Good morning, everyone.
Now, I think first, when I think of the role of the chief, I don't think everybody here who's watching this show or taking an opportunity to maybe follow up with it later, but I wanted people to understand what this role actually means, because we do hear it in a lot of different places. We see your amazing name and position at different events now, more so than we ever did before, which is amazing. So that means we're getting it there. But I just wanted people to understand a little bit more about the role of being a chief in a First Nations community and what that role sort of means to you.
Okay, so being the chief of the Lennox Island First Nation is a huge role. It's a role that holds a whole pile of responsibility. And it's a voice. I am the voice of the people of the Lennox Island First Nation. So I am the voice, like the ambassador. I often say that I am the ambassador. So I'm the face of Lennox Island First Nation. So it's important that, we put forward a very positive voice and we take strong positions on things like with regard to rights and stuff. So being a chief and being the role is more you're the spokesperson for the community, but you're also the lead. Like you're responsible for the administration. Like, so we have a big administration on Lennox Island. Like we started like when I was very young and became a part of the administration, we were only 4 people in the band office. But now we have offices all over Prince Edward Island, and our staff has grown in all areas of the administration. We have a school in our community. So it's my job to make sure that we have the right people in those positions to help move forward our community, make sure we have good teachers to teach our children, and our health center. We have to have doctors, we have to have nurses, and we have to have all kinds of professionals in our community to help us to be able to help our children to grow and become part of a vibrant Mi'kmaq cultural community into the future. So it's a huge role. I have to defend our rights. That's another part of my role. I have to make sure that we are defending our rights in the proper manner and making sure that we're practicing them for future generations, because if we don't practice our rights, we will lose them. So we have to be out there doing them. So like, our treaty and making sure that our language is being revitalized and making sure that it's going to survive into the future, making sure that there's opportunities for our people to learn about their culture and their traditions and things like that, because that's all things that we have to continue to practice, because if we stop practicing those things, then we're going to lose them. So tradition is very, very important. So I have to make sure that all those things happen for our community. So, and that's a small part of it. Like, I attend meetings on everything. So I think in order to be a chief, you have to have, some educational background, and you have to live in the community. You have to be actual living on reserve to be a chief in this community. It's different in other communities, but here we have a custom code. So our code was developed by the people and was approved by the people. And so we have our custom code. So you have to be elected, and you get elected. You go through a process. You could talk to people and tell them what you want to do for the community, and hopefully they'll support you. And then you get into the role, and then you have to make all that work happen. Everything that you talked about, you got to get it going. So there's a huge responsibility in that, because you create expectations, right? And as leaders, we are always creating expectations, and we have to be careful about that as well. Yeah. So I think if you want to be a chief, you have to live on Lennox Island. But I think a good place to start is to get on council. I think that that's a great place to start, because once you're on council, then you get to see how everything is run, and the mechanics of, the leadership, and how we govern our community and our interests off the island. So, so being a chief, I also am the co-chair of the Abequitk Assembly of Councils. So that's where both bands come together, the full councils, and we meet and we work on things that are common interest to both of us, both communities, because we're all Mi'kmaq, we're all Epekwitk Mi'kmaq. So, we have very common interests, but we're very much, we have our own autonomy as well. Like Lennox Island is Lennox Island First Nation, Epekwitk is Epekwitk First Nation, but we do have to come together and work together, because there's more strength in numbers, like more numbers, more stronger voice. So we tried to do that.
Storybook answer. That's beautiful. I got a question for young Darlene Bernard. Was it always in her goals and ambitions to be chief or chief and council of Lennox Island when you were young? Did you always
No.
want to be a chief?
No, I never aspired to be a chief. Like I talked about this earlier. I think that when I first started thinking about, like, that my voice could make a difference was when I was the director of employment and training services, and I helped to get adult education, like adult upgrading, be a part of the HRDC employment training program. And when that was able to happen, I kind of said, oh goodness, I made a difference here. I helped to make this positive change. And I think that was probably when I started to think about leadership, and and how my voice can help better our community into the future.
We will take a short break here now, but be sure to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Welcome back to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I am Julie Pellissier Lush and my wonderful co-host Richard Pellissier Lush, and we are interviewing Chief Darlene Bernard. And I know a lot of people might have questions, and this is an opportunity to get some amazing answers. What are the amazing things that are going on in Lennox Island right now, Chief Darlene? I mean, we hear a little bit on the news every now and then, but I know there's so much more that's happening in Lennox Island in terms of economic development, in terms of tourism, in terms of education. There's so many things, and just maybe give a little brief update on all these amazing activities that are happening right now in Lennox Island.
Okay, I'll try to be brief, but you know me, I can talk all day when it comes to Lennox Island and all the wonderful things that are happening here in our community, and for our band members that live off island as well. Like I had said, that we were working really, really hard to erase colonial lines, right? These are colonial lines that, that go totally against who we are as a people and how we share. And, we tried to look at our families and help our families to grow and prosper and to be well. So we are doing all kinds of that kind of work. Like we're like right now we have like our tourism products right now. If you go on to Experience Lennox Island, we have 4 tourism packages. You can sign up for those online. You can come into the community and you can make drums, you can make art pieces, you can do bannocks and clams, you can learn about our culture, our history, and what we're doing in the modern times. You can learn about Bedouin National Park Reserve, which is going to be established next year, which is going to bring a huge amount of opportunities to Lennox Island and our surrounding area here in the West. And I always say, you know, the things that Lennox Island are doing, if it has like a nice ripple effect across the province, then that's even gravy. So we're working on that for our tourism work. We're working on building a new wharf for our people, for our fisheries. And of course, everyone knows that we introduced a treaty protected fishery this spring, and now we're fishing in the fall side. So, you know, that is like doing concrete work to protect our rights because we're practicing them, right? So that's extremely important work that we're doing here. We're also doing work like just like teaching like language, like working in the province to get more of our words on signs and things like that. Like I saw something, someone sent me something that they saw on Facebook, and this person had said that they hadn't been to PEI in a very long time, but the one thing that stuck out to them upon their return to PEI was that there was more Mi'kmaq language everywhere. They said we're seeing more Mi'kmaq language and we love it. And these are not Mi'kmaq people. These are just, you know, people who are coming to visit our island. So I think that that's something that we can be proud of. We are working so hard to bring back our language, our cultural activities, our Maoiomis, like, and using our language, I think is extremely important. Like, you know, we need to see Mi'kmaq splattered everywhere. When people come to Epekwitk, they should know that this is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, not the Cree people, not the Inuit or anything. It's the Mi'kmaq territory. So I want that to be here. I think we've done amazing work with the province around recognizing Treaty Day, which was never recognized here on PEI, although they've had it since 97 in Nova Scotia. We're doing that. We have the Truth and Reconciliation Day now on the 30th, and we're working on doing more work to be able to educate, you know, all islanders, all Epekwitk on our culture, treaties, you know, like the work that Onaway is doing. You know, I'm proud of that work because it's really educating islanders, and I am seeing the positive effects from that. People who understand and know better do better. And I'm seeing that. Like you know, as much as like my inbox could be full of like awful, cranky things and stuff, every now and again I'll get something from someone who I don't know, who will just say, you know, this is amazing work. I love those Mi'kmaq words, you know, and it just makes me feel like that we are making progress. And I think that that's the biggest thing is that Lennox Island is we're progressing, we're moving forward. There was an article that just came out where Lennox Island is was at the top, like of having raising our income, like our income levels have raised. Like there's an article on that, and I was showing it to someone the other day, and I said, geez, you know, we should probably say something about this because it's just a little article in the paper somewhere that nobody's probably even read. So I want to bring that out there because like we are creating real opportunities here for people, like, you know, to do things that they're passionate about. Like we're getting into energy, like, you know, we want to build windmills and we want to have solar power. We want to erase our carbon footprint on Lennox Island, and we're doing that work. We're getting that work done. We want to have you know, better handle on our business revenues, and we're doing that. You know, the community now can see, like, you know, what's going on with the money that's being made in our businesses, right? You know, so we've set that up. We have our new 4-pillar approach to own source revenues. Like we didn't have that before. So, but these are things that, like, not only is it just better management of our assets and our businesses, but it also is a way to be accountable to the people, right? The people will see that. Like if you don't get a royalty, which is a standard thing that they have all across country and First Nations. If you don't get one, then you're going to ask the question, what's going on with the businesses, right? Because that money comes from those businesses directly. So now if you don't get it, or if it's lower, then you can say, oh, something's going on, and be more aware, right? Whereas before there was nothing to show anything. So Anyway, so to me, it's a bit of both. It's like, helping our communities and putting money into the pockets of our people is a big thing. Because when people have money in their pockets, they can make better choices. I know that. You can't make choices and you can't budget when you have nothing, right? So the more money as leaders and being the chief and getting into people's pockets, getting people out there working and making opportunities, the better choices they can make for their families and for their future. So that's what I'm about. Anyway.
That is amazing. And we have to now take a short break again, but we will be right back after a short break. So please continue to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Welcome back to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I'm Julie Pellissier Lush and my wonderful co-host Richard Lush, and we're here speaking with Chief Darlene Bernard. Now, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was planning on all the different things I wanted to ask you when we had an opportunity to talk was, what is one of the most important things you have learned during your time as a chief?
What is one of the things I've learned? Well, I've learned that nothing happens as fast as I would like it to happen. I've learned that patience is a virtue that I really have to work on because I need to be more patient. And I've learned that, when it comes to um, doing the work that I do, I realize that, you have to have a huge, strong love and commitment for your community, and you have to think about people as individuals sometimes. Like collectively we have collective rights and all those kind of things, but you still have to look at individuals and try to understand that everybody comes to you from a different place. And I've learned that, and I've learned come to really respect that, that not everybody is at the same place as me, and I have to sometimes try to be more patient and kind. That's what I've learned in the last years, is to be patient and kind and to try not to rush everything. And there's something to be said for Indian time. We always used to joke around, oh, we're going on Indian time, but I've learned from the elders, and an elder said to me one time, that's not just words. It's like Indian time really means that things happen when they're meant to happen. And sometimes us trying to rush through things is not always beneficial. So I'm trying to learn to slow myself down a little bit and not become frustrated, because like I can get very frustrated when things, especially when you're working with government. Government is so slow, and then with COVID made things even slower. It's made us trying to get things done, like our projects, everything costs are outrageous. So in the last little while I've been really working on my ability to try not to be too impatient with things and with people, because sometimes I get impatient with people and I know that that's unfair sometimes. So I just trying to be kind. I think that that's what I'm learning, is to take everybody that comes to me, whether they're upset or or whatever it is to be kind and to listen before I make any kind of statements.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I think our next question will be towards a Truth and Reconciliation Day. Now, with it being acknowledged as the second year, as a holiday, and it's a very important day for not only Abequit, for Mi'kma'ki, and hopefully across the nation, what does it mean to be an ally? Like, what does that term ally mean? And how can someone be an ally?
Okay. Well, with Truth and Reconciliation Day coming up on the 30th, and when it was going to be announced that it was going to become a holiday, I know the premier and I are good friends, and he called me and he said, "So, what are we going to do with this?" And I said, "Well, put it as a holiday, give people a day off." And he said, "Well, what would they do?" And I said, "Well, you give them the time and we'll find things for them to do." So being an ally to me is making space, to be able to learn more about the Mi'kmaq, the people of Abequet, and it's for non-Indigenous people to make this space and the time, but it's also for us to be able to provide that learning and teachings and things like that. So I said to him, I said, you make it a day off, but we'll make sure that we have activities and things going on that day, like teachings and storytelling and all those kinds of things, because I think that that's what it's about. People who want to be allies, they want to learn. They have to be educated. It's okay to say yes, I support the Mi'kmaq, but if I don't know anything really about them, I can't actively be an ally, right? Until you really know what the issues are, what needs to be done, and then how we can go forward. Then you become a part of that and support that. And that's how you become an ally to the Mi'kmaq. Come out and participate in our Maui Omis. That's a good way to be an ally. When you see great things happening, you know, pat us on the back. I just think it's all those things. It's just being supportive. It's being supportive, and then and using your voice to support us. A lot of times people like don't agree with things that are happening, but they don't say anything. So when you don't say anything, it's like you're just agreeing to it. You're allowing it to happen, right? So you need to the voices have to be heard. We need to have people join their voices with ours to become a part of that movement forward. And I think we're at a time right now where we're on the cusp of change. Like I think people want to see good positive change, and we're there now to be able to do it. Like we're educated, we have more things going for us that we can actually get out there and provide the teachings and the learning and everything that people are searching to find.
Now, what are you most looking forward to in the coming months in your role as chief of Lennox Island?
What am I most looking forward in the coming months? Well, I'm looking forward to, Truth and Reconciliation Day and Treaty Day, because they're right back to back. And I know that we have our one and only Jamie Thomas, who is working to coordinate the activities that are going to happen to celebrate those days. And I know, like, my input was, in the first day, it's a somber kind of a day. It's a day of reflection and stuff, and it's a day to really reach out to learn something, right? So we want to be able to have something where people can come and learn, maybe both I don't know, the drum, or stories about like our legends and things that you guys are so great at doing. And I think that you'll probably be a big part of that day. So I think it's a day you come out and you're learning and things like that, and the flags are lowered, and then the next day is Treaty Day, and it's a day of celebration, and it's about the people, and we raise the flag back up, and we have a Maui Omi, that's traditional Maui Omi, with singing and dancing and feasting and all those great things. So I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
There really is so many amazing things going on when I look at the websites, and when the Indigenous Tourism Association, as well as the Cultural Center, as well as the school, getting ready for another year of hopefully in school learning, because I know that it was so difficult. And when we think of COVID, what do you think of what we've learned from it as a community, as a First Nations community?
From COVID?
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I think I've learned a lot from it. I learned like that people are like magnets. Doesn't matter. No matter what you do, you tell them they go 6 feet apart. As soon as you put them in a room together, they're all like together. They're magnets. So we learned very quickly that, you can't have activities when COVID was going on. But I think that what I learned was that our people are very resilient, and, we all come together. The leadership certainly took, like, we went above and beyond. What was the phrase? Caution, like, what was that phrase that we would always use? It was better to be more cautious, than not. So we took that to heart, like here on Lennox Island, and how we dealt with the pandemic. And we worked really hard to support our families to stay at home that first round there, when we didn't want people to go out and stuff. But one thing I learned is that people, when especially our First Nations people, like, we're used to being able to move around freely, right? And then when you start to restrict that, people are not very happy to be restricted, no matter what the cost, right? So, but the biggest thing I think that I learned, like, from COVID, is that we can come together and we can do great work together. Like, as much as COVID was a bad thing, we got a lot of opportunities from it, like in the sense of like funding and support from government. Like, we were able to have people work from home to keep everybody safe that way. So the federal government actually, and I actually patted them on the back for that. I said to them, I said, you guys, like, look into the First Nations and saying, okay, here's the funding support. You guys can set your priorities and deal with your communities the best way that you can. So their flexibility was really what saved lives. So now, though, what we're dealing with is the mental unwellness from the fallout of that, right? People being isolated, it's not like, wasn't healthy for a lot of people. Like, some people, like me, I could be isolated because I can read, I can do all these kinds of things, and I can keep my mind busy. But some people can't do that, and then being isolated, it costs like mental health issues. So we are trying to now deal with those things, and talking to the federal government about those things to make sure that there's support moving forward to be able to deal with mental health and those kind of issues. So that's what but we survived it. People in the community, we had a high level of vaccination in our community, so we were able to get people out to get vaccinated. And we have a health center right in the community, so there was a lot of great information going around, and we were able to support our families. And I felt grateful for that, because that was one of the things, like, being a chief during a pandemic, that's a huge responsibility. Like, if someone would have died, or anything would have happened, I would have felt directly responsible for that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and sit and talk with us and be one of our amazing voices here to show the change, the determination, the motivation of our Indigenous people here on Prince Edward Island. I thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Alan.
Now, thank you so much for being a part of our amazing show, Voices of Epekwitk, on Eastlink Community TV. Be sure to tune in again for the next episode of our Community Changemakers. We do not like to say goodbye. We like to say Namultis until we meet again. So, Walalan, thank you.
Gojo walking na, 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 gojo. Goju walking na, 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 goju.